Welcome to My Therapist is Out. Each episode, we talk with a therapist from Open Space Therapy Collective or LGBT community members about mental health and building community. I'm your host, Renee Johnson, licensed therapist and founder of Open Space Therapy Collective, where we are your hub for queer and trans mental health care. As we dive into today's topic, please keep in mind that this is a mental health podcast. We will talk about sensitive and difficult issues that are not appropriate for all audiences. Please take care while listening. Hi, everybody. It's Terra Friedman from Open Space Therapy Collective. I'm so excited to get to pop on for a little mini moment with you all. As you know, we are on hiatus when My Therapist is out. So I'm just here to share kind of a thought to carry you through something that I've been thinking about a lot and talking about with a lot of my clients is rest. And we've really been kind of getting more specific. I've been thinking about that a lot for myself as well. A lot of the conversations around rest that I hear are sort of one size fits all. And rest and energy are not one size fits all. I think for a lot of people, rest can sort of default to like laying down and scrolling or sitting on the couch and watching a show. And if those feel restful, awesome. I am not here to take away your scrolling or your favorite show. But I do want to invite you to consider more specificity. Getting a little bit more specific with what kind of tired you are and what kind of rest you might need. So I was reading about Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith's research. She's a researcher in rest and recovery from fatigue. And she talks about there being 7 different kinds of fatigue, 7 different kinds of rest needed for humans. She talks about physical, mental, emotional, social, sensory, creative, and spiritual. And that's already so much more specific than, oh, I'm kind of tired, had a long day, I'm going to go rest, I'm going to go watch a show. Because the way that one might rest if you're physically tired is probably different from how you would rest if you were emotionally tired. And if we're trying to rest in a way that doesn't match the kind of tired we are, it might work. It totally might, depending on how closely connected the two are, or maybe you're a little bit of socially tired and a lot of it emotionally tired. So maybe the same kind of rest will help. But if you're trying to offer your body, your heart, mental rest for physical fatigue, is probably not going to help. And you're probably going to continue draining your physical energy by doing that. You're going to continue to drain the kind of energy that's still being used and isn't being replenished. So I've been thinking a lot about how we can start to notice what kind of fatigue we're feeling and actually match the kind of rest to that specific type of fatigue. Because then it's much more likely to be effective and you're more likely to feel better. Let's go through the kinds of fatigue. And then I'm curious if anybody has noticed feeling one or more or a combination of these kinds of tired more often than the others. And maybe you already have things that you're doing to offer yourself effective rest that matches up with the kind of tired you are. So physical fatigue, that's things like you've been moving your body a lot and you're starting to run out of physical energy. Your body's starting to feel tired. I think of all of these kinds of energy too as like the energy tanks or battery packs. So you can always check in with all of these different kinds of energy and see how full they are, if they need rest or not. Mental fatigue is maybe you're working on a paper for school or a project for work and you're really thinking hard about it and you're starting to feel kind of sluggish in your brain and you're not thinking as quickly as maybe you were when you first started the project. You need some rest. Emotional fatigue, maybe you're going through something, or a friend is going through something, and you've been offering a lot of emotional support, either for yourself or people you love. Maybe you've been reading the news a lot, and you're starting to feel emotionally drained. You're starting to feel a little bit numbed out or overwhelmed emotionally. That's a good sign that you need some emotional rest. Social fatigue might come up when you're spending a lot of time being social, even if you're really enjoying it. Like, the question isn't, is it fun or is it feeling good? But it's like, how much do I have left in my energy tank, my social energy tank? You might start to notice feeling snappy. You might start to notice not really wanting to make more plans. That could be a good sign you're feeling socially fatigued. Creative fatigue might come about when you've been being super active creatively. Maybe you're writing something, you're learning a new art skill, or maybe you work in an artistic field, and you, by the end of the day, you've really used a lot of that creative energy. You start to feel fatigued from that. Spiritual fatigue can come up when you're living in a world that doesn't really align with your values. You're feeling fatigued from engaging in things that don't feel purposeful to you. You can start to crave connection to something bigger than yourself, whether that's an organization or meditation or prayer. Sensory fatigue can come up when I'm thinking of, like, maybe you go to a concert and it's super loud, and it's loud for a long time, and you're starting to feel drained by the constant sound. Or maybe you're in a store or an office or a building where there's really bright fluorescent lights, and that kind of thing can start to feel exhausting to your senses. That might be when you start to feel like you need a break from that kind of input. So all of these different kinds of fatigue really have to do with the input you're getting and the energy you're using. And there's different kinds of rest for all of them. So maybe get a little bit curious with yourself. When you're feeling fatigued, you're feeling tired, feeling worn out, what resource have you been using? Or resources, probably, more likely. It's a combo. And then notice what kind of rest you might need. Maybe even notice what kind of rest you do reflexively. Think about if that's addressing the kind of tired you're feeling. All right. I'm curious to hear from you all. Let us know if you notice more one of the other of these, and if you already have things that you're doing to help you feel rejuvenated. I'm going to pass this off now to one of our lovely queer community members to hear a moment of queer joy.
I'm Danielle Landy, they, them. I am a singer-songwriter. A recent moment of queer joy and connection is I went on a little SoCal tour, and I played on just the sweetest queer music showcase night in San Diego. And it was a room full of people I didn't know, and like queers do, they made me feel so welcome, like they'd known me forever. And I had just really great, deep conversations with strangers. And I feel like that happens much more easily amongst queers than it does in day-to-day interactions. I love being in queer spaces.
Hey, I'm Joey Stromberg. My pronouns are he, him, and I felt queer joy listening to the Trans Chorus of Los Angeles sing out loud in the face of so much diversity. And it's great.
My name is Audra Brown. My pronouns are she, her, and I work at Eastside Affirmative Psychotherapy. My partner and I just celebrated 1 year of dating, and so that was literally this weekend, so it was very exciting. It was very cute.
Thanks for joining us. If you're in California and looking for a therapist, visit our website at openspacetherapycollective.com and book a free intro call with one of our therapists. If you're enjoying My Therapist Is Out, please rate, review, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Do you know somebody who could use a little extra dose of queer community? Send them one of your favorite episodes of My Therapist Is Out and help our collective grow one listen at a time. My Therapist Is Out is an open space therapy collective podcast, and our podcast editing is done by Rachel Peltzer and Smash and Grab Studio. We'd love to hear from you about today's topic, so email us at info@openspacetherapycollective.com. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Open Space Therapy Collective. Thanks for listening.